This is Miss Trina with Chat with Trina, and I just want to say thank you for making the choice to click in tonight. And I am here today with a really special person. Oh, let me back up. Not only is it Talk About It Tuesday, it is Trina's favorite people month. And I have someone I've always wanted to talk to since I met her on my little show. And she was like, yes. And that just always makes me feel so good. So
Yeah.
Miss Casilya, by the way, I love her name. If I could have any children, my next daughter's name would be Casilya. But
Oh, yay.
Casilya Smith, also known as Sil the Writer.
Yes, yes, yes.
How are you today?
I am doing well, and shout out to you for it being your birthday month along with your favorite people month. So happy birthday month to you.
Thank you. Now, Miss Casilya, that's your full name, Casilya Smith.
Yes.
No, that's the government name. Okay. So where are you from and where did you go to school?
Okay, so I have to break this down. So of course, Casilya Smith, but artistically I'm known as Sil. So a lot of people couldn't get my name right in younger years. So they were just like, listen, we're going to call you Sil. So I've been rolling with it ever since. But I was born and raised here in Houston, Texas, where I currently reside. I did travel off to school back in 2008. I attended Florida A&M University, so FAMU, as well as Florida State University for undergrad. So yes, so if you ever get my number, the 850 area code is because I went to school in Florida, but I'm Texas made and raised.
Yay. Well, awesome about FAMU. That's an awesome. And what was your major in education?
No, actually not education. So when I was at FAMU, I majored in political science with pre-law concentration, and I double majored in journalism. So education just fell in the lap after I graduated college. So yes.
What school did you go to here in Houston for high school?
Eisenhower, Big Ike, and Aldine ISD.
Oh, that is swoop,
yes. Swoop, swoop. Yes, you know. Yes, you know all about it. So yes, shout out.
Yes, I went to Aldine.
Yes.
So I didn't know school, but I've interviewed several people who went to Aldine, and they'd be like, "Yeah, Eisenhower is like swoop, swoop." I say,
yes, that black and gold.
What year did you graduate?
2008. Okay. So I'm a fresh 31 years old, everybody.
What made you go into pre-law and all of that you went into?
Yes. So, I mean, I've always had a love for writing. I'm sure we'll dive into that as well. I've always had a love for writing, so I knew that I wanted to do communications or journalism, but I wasn't sure the salary. Like how successful can I be in journalism? I'm not sure. I mean, it wasn't a lot of, African American women that I saw in news journalism, growing up. So I knew that I had a love for writing, but I also wanted something else more stable. My family and friends always told me I was very good at arguing, debating, advocating, and of course helping people. So I was like, okay, I can be a lawyer. I can help, the innocent people. But of course, once I got to school, my love for writing was tugging on my heart like very heavy. But I had already completed so many credits in pre-law. I was like, okay, I'm just going to finish with it, and then I'll go on from there. So
okay. And then education, that
yes. So education, my mom's mom is an educator. Her mom's mom actually was featured in the Houston Chronicle. She was like one of the oldest graduates to go back to school at age of 60 to get her degree in education. I never saw myself as a teacher, but when I was working in corporate outside of college, I wasn't fulfilled. Like I was great at my job. I'm always one of the best employees, but I wasn't fulfilled. I'm like, I could be doing more. I could be impacting people. I've always had a heart for people and children. So I'm like, okay, let me dabble and see what I can do in the education realm. And so I was educator in education for 6 years. And so, yeah.
Because sometimes it's not, I tell people all the time, sometimes it's not the money sometimes. I mean, you gotta have money. But if you're not being fulfilled, if you're not happy, man.
No. And a lot of people, especially like I know, not even just my generation, but just a lot of people in general, are finding out that lesson now about fulfillment. So you're working this job, you're paying all the bills, but you're not happy. right? You have all this money, you have all of these nice things, but you're not happy, right? You're not walking in purpose, you're not fulfilled. So I think a lot of people are learning that lesson now and starting to figure out it's not always about the money and the dollar signs.
Exactly. What grade did you teach?
Oh, seventh grade. English language arts and writing. So yes, it's always anytime someone asks me, oh, what grade do you teach? And I say seventh grade, they're like, oh, I'm praying for you. Because that age realm is just like really just it takes a yeah.
It's so funny. I have to say this, that when at one time, many moons ago, I thought maybe I want to be a teacher or something. I was like, but I would never do middle school. I would always say that. Well, when I left the healthcare field, I got a job at a middle school, Shotwell Middle School. Then I left there to go to work at a college for 20 years. Well, when my grant ended, I went to find another job. Guess what I'm doing? I am in a program for middle school.
Of course, the one you said you would never. But that's why they say never say never, right?
Never say never. What do you think is most challenging for educators?
Oh, right now, I would say definitely just the lack of intrinsic motivation, of course, from the students. We can encourage and rah-rah and be their biggest cheerleaders, but there has to be something in you that wants to be, better, or just wants to grow, or just do something for yourself. So we can pull and pull and pour and pour and pour, but you have to meet us at least halfway or close to it. And of course, just the support from parents. Over the years, as I've seen, the lack of parental involvement has definitely been an issue, cry for help amongst teachers. Like, we need support in these classrooms. We need the parents on board. We need administrators on board. And so that's pretty much what it is. I mean, again, if you have teenagers, if you see children nowadays, it's a different breed. We need the villages back. And so that's what we're lacking, that sense of community and support.
What would you say is the most positive thing about being an educator?
Oh, wow. I mean, definitely just the rapport building and the relationships. I mean, I have students that are now juniors in high school that still reach out to me via email or their parents. I mean, it's like literally I'm a part of their family and they're a part of mine, and they reach back and say, Miss Smith, like, everything you taught me, like, I'm using, or I'm so grateful for you. I still remember when, thank you for never, giving up on me. And that's something, again, you can't get. I'm not knocking corporate jobs, but if you're in a cubicle job, you miss that type of fulfillment, where it's like, I've truly like impacted somebody, like I'm going to be a part of their story. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's definitely the positive part about education, for sure.
So I am correct that you did step out on faith to a new journey.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So I'm no longer an educator. I know, sad news for my students. They're still like, Miss, are you sure? You sure you're not going to come back? And I'm like, y'all, school started 2 days ago. I'm not there. Like, I'm not coming back. But yes, I did step out on faith. Actually, in 2019, God told me to step out. Like, I knew that I wanted to fulfill my joy for impacting children, but he had been tugging me and pulling me into a different direction. Like, you're still going to impact children, but I need you in a different position. I need you over here. And so, me being, of course, scared, I was like, no, like, what? I'm comfortable here. Like, what about my check, my benefits and all of this kind of stuff. And so I'm like, okay. So I signed up and I went back to teach last school year. And the whole time, God made me uncomfortable. When I tell you, it was so tense because I knew what he told me, but I was too scared to obey. And so toward the end of this last school year, I'm like, okay, no, I'm closing the door effective June 2021, and I'm going to trust God on this journey. I'm an author. I'm also an indie self-publisher, so I help other aspiring authors become published writers. And then I also do photography and just so many things. And when I tell you, I have lacked nothing since I closed that chapter. The opportunities and just the again, when you obey, it's like, okay, this is what I was trying to show you. Like, had you just, just trust me. So, here I am. I'm excited about the present, the future, the in between. So, yeah.
Well, awesome. I am happy, very happy for
Thank
you.
you.
And yes, God does make us really uncomfortable. When we get comfortable, he starts stirring up the gifts. Now, when did you start writing? That was, you said high school, huh?
Oh, wow. Well, according to my seventh grade middle school yearbook, I guess I've been writing because my seventh grade English teacher, Miss Washington Ross, she wrote in my yearbook, "Dedicate your first novel to me." And so when I found that at my mom's house a few years ago, I was like, what? Like, I was writing back then, had no idea. So apparently middle school, but I started to take it more seriously in high school. I had finished all of my electives at Eisenhower. And so I said, okay, just put me in a class. They put me in journalism class for the school newspaper. And so I was like, And my teacher was like, "Hey, I know you're not really taking this seriously, but you have something here, like you need to hone in on." And so I still remember that conversation with that teacher, and I was like, "Okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do this." So yeah, I've always had a love for writing, though. Expression. I didn't have an easy childhood. Very, 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 very traumatic. And so for me, writing became like a coping strategy. But I didn't know that my experiences with writing could impact like everybody. I was just like, oh, I thought this was only from me, from my eyes. But I mean, it's just been so impactful on so many people stepping out on that in that gift. So yeah.
Awesome. I do like it. It's really cool when teachers do notice a student that's excelling in certain things and to pull that out of them. That is just, when I hear those kind of stories,
I don't think people really understand how much weight words hold. Like, whether positive or negative, someone can say something to you that will impact you and in some ways haunt you for the rest of your life, depending on the mental space you were in when you receive that information. So we have to be definitely careful about saying those, declaring those things on people.
Talk to me about the journey to becoming an actual author and your passion for helping others become authors. And do you only do children's books, or are we all over?
Oh yeah. So I mean, my journey toward being an author. So again, always loved writing. When I was in college, so at FAMU, I had a friend who I would share my writings with, but I was still shy. I'm like, I don't really want the attention for it to be public, but I would write little blogs and then share with her. And she was like, Celia, you need to really like do something with this. You need to really like publish. And I'm like, no, because a part of letting people into your world, like when you're a writer, there is a little bit of celebrity that comes with it when you're an author. People start to recognize your work. People want to connect with you on your stories. I mean, like, is that your truth? Or, that's my truth as well. And so you have to get in a place of being comfortable, being vulnerable. And I wasn't in that space yet. I was still wearing the mask on a lot of my experiences. And so I just was not ready. But again, went to this corporate job. I'm like, I'm not fulfilled. I started teaching and I was starting to receive that fulfillment. But again, the writing, it was like, okay, God was still, but he was like, but what about this? Like, I need you to do this. And so one day, one of my college friends, she called me up and she was like, hey, I had a vision that you're going to write this book. The book is going to be pink. It's going to look like this. And I need you to start writing. And she hung up and I was like, what? Like, no. And so I just kind of got pushed, like, you need to stop hiding from it and just make it happen. And that was in 2016. I published my first book, which was a poetry / self-help book. I do children's books as well. And then a lot of self-help, personal improvement books, but fiction, you name it. Of course, I love to pay it forward. I feel like everybody can eat. You know what I'm saying? So if I've mastered a skill and I have this gift and someone else wants to become an author, why not help them pave the way? It doesn't take away from me to help the next person,
Well, so that leads us into our topic for tonight.
Yes.
So our topic is about friendships and friends supporting you in your vision, what you're doing. Not feeling the love from friends and family. Like, let's talk about that. you mentioned twice that you had a friend that pushed you and that said you could do this. You know, what about those that may not have that same support?
So here's the thing. Again, everyone has different experiences. For me, I was not used to, besides my mom, of course, my mom was always in my cheer section, but I'm like, that's your mom. Like your mom, that's your mama, So other than my mom, and then of course, a few teachers every once in a while, I had never been affirmed. I had never been told, like, you can do anything, like, you're amazing, like, you're gifted, like, you got this. So when I started to hear people say, hey, you should take this gift seriously, or I started to see, like, little specks of support, I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know if it was authentic. I didn't know. It was an unfamiliar feeling to receive support. And that's sad, but that's a lot of people's stories. When people are genuinely just want to support you, they don't want anything from you, but just to see you win. And that makes you feel uncomfortable because you've never seen or felt that before. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that was my story. But because I lacked that, I wanted to make sure I was the type of person to always give it. So for people, I would say, who lack support, you have to embrace the people that support you and not resent the people that don't. It's easy to say, like, okay, of course you want your family to be in your cheer section, of course, but that's my best friend, but that's my dad. Like, they're supposed to love me, they're supposed to support me. But in case they don't, you have to be able to still win anyways. You have to still be so focused and grounded, like, regardless of if my support isn't the people I originally thought, I can either dwell over here and miss what I'm supposed to be focused on, or I can embrace who is here and I can keep traveling and on my journey to winning. So you have to just make up your mind that you can't hold on to that weight of no support, or you're never going to get anywhere.
Support. That's true. I like that. I like that. That definitely helped me. I don't want to say I cry, but I whine a lot about that. I whine about
I'll cry too.
because you do think about, yeah, you be thinking about, like we've been cool and you can't just you can't just share. You can't, I mean, like you can't watch for five. I have so many people that watch my videos on my YouTube, but they don't subscribe. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
So
you can have a neon sign that says subscribe, support, like share, and they still will be like, I'm not sharing that. I'm not subscribing. And these are people that's close to you. So again, it's unexpected. I have a private women's empowerment circle called No Sis, No Suffering in Silence. And I did an exercise with Brittany and a bunch of other ladies, how to be a friend. And we talked about this. And the thing is, it's just like, I always tell my friends, you can't take other people's issues, whatever it may be, personal. Because you'll start to think about, well, like, am I not a good friend? Like, I know I support everybody. Like, now it's my turn to take off, or it's my turn to walk in purpose, and everybody's quiet, or everything's crickets. And you do it. It's hurtful. It's hurtful. So I always tell people, feel how you feel, because we're human. Cry about it, scream about it, take kickboxing, punch it out, whatever you need to do. But at the end of the day, you have to shake it off. You got,
the axes.
Throw the axes, do what you need to do. But at the end of the day, you have to make up your mind, like, hey, that's more motivation for me to show, like, okay, you're going to wish you had hopped on a train because the train is moving.
Yes. No. I heard LeBron James say on the Jimmy Kimmel show that I really don't watch that often, but who was the host that night? Arsenio Hall.
Oh, like that was classic. Yes.
He said, well, how do you feel about having so many haters? He said, Kobe used to always say that you needed haters.
Yeah.
And LeBron said, you do. He said, because that can be motivating. He said, it ain't cool. He said, but my thing is when they be out there booing me and say, I'm out there, you know what? I'm going to make them go home and cry about how hard they lost this game. Yeah. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, but I will say this. I don't know if it's a quote or something I've read where they say you always think your family and friends are going to be your biggest supporters, and that's really just not the case. And you have to let that go and move on. And like you said, embrace those who are supporting you.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, Well, for some people, it is their truth. Their family, they go hard. They are here with the shirts, like support my baby, my granddaughter, and kudos to you. I love to see it. I haven't experienced that, but I love to see it. But at the end of the day, again, I just feel like the haters, yes, are necessary, but we can't even shift our focus too long on it. You can recognize, oh, they hate, they feel some type of way, okay. But again, if we dwell too long, then it becomes a distraction to what we're supposed to be focused on anyway. So in teaching, which I'm sure you hear it a lot, even in your position, is always remember your why. So who am I doing this for? Am I doing this so that, I can get 500 likes and I can be on IG Explore page? Am I doing this to really impact somebody? Am I doing this so I can save somebody, give someone hope? Just stay grounded in like what you're doing it for, and the support's going to come. People look at me probably and think, oh, the way people go hard on my comments, like, oh, Sil got all the supporters. Sil's friends are, and family are. That's social media. Like the biggest support that I have are, yes, a few faithful friends that I can always count on. Like I can always count on, even if it's a prayer or like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it to your event, but I'm praying for you. I know you're going to rock it. They're still affirming me near and far. I have a few faithful, but most people are strangers, and I've had to shift my mind to not dwell on who's missing out, because that's what it is. They're missing out, and focus on those people that have become like my new family. Like people really love me, like people who I've met in months and years. Like you like we just met, Trina, like at Britt's event last year. Yes, a year. You know what I'm saying? And now we're sitting here,
Galentine's Day. Y'all, you know what? I keep talking about Galentine's Day. I want Galentine's Day to come this year.
Yes.
Brittany, I see you watching. You need to make sure that if we have to wear our mask, whatever we got to do, we need Galentine's Day this year.
Yes. And hold on, shout out to Britt too, because she's one of the authors, the aspiring authors that I'm helping. She'll be published author soon, like 2021. So you guys just look out for that. She's working really, really hard. I'm so proud of her. So shout out to Brittany.
I'm definitely proud of all of the things. If I can get her in that busy schedule of hers and get her back on my show so she can talk about where she was when we interviewed before and where she is today. Let's talk about friendship. Let's talk about that. What I mentioned sometimes. So for me, I used to always say, I don't do women, but I have my new thing on my vision board is to try to do more. And I have actually done some more of that. But what is a friend? What is friendship? What is this thing, friendship?
I feel like friendship is truly just a love without conditions. For family, we have to be family. Even if we don't talk, we're still family. Whether we don't speak for the next 10, 15 years, you're still my family, and I can't do anything about it. But with friendship, it's truly a love without conditions, and it's a choice. And so when we're talking about support, it always confuses me, because it's like, you don't have to be my friend. But if you are my friend, I would expect a mutual love, a mutual support, a mutual, like, even if I know nothing about your dream, because I know it's your dream and I'm your friend, I'm about to root for you like it's my own dream. So it's a choice. Friendship is a choice, but it should be a relationship that goes without conditions. Definitely. So that's the simple way I can put it.
So there are times that we do have to walk away from. I've walked away from some family members. Love them, but I have to love them afar. That's something that it took me a minute to get. It took me a minute, because you're going to battle with your other family members, because they don't understand that. When you're family, you're supposed to love them no matter how many darts they throw at you and how bad. But you know what? My peace is more important. So I learned that I have to step back from the foolishness sometime if it's continuous. But what made Brittany talk about what you did at your event was that I was saying, I have this person in my life that's a friend of mine. I want so much for her. I've tried to invite her in to help me with what I do. I've done this, and she just ain't getting it. I want her to be fabulous. And then I realized, I said, but I'm the only one in this friendship. I'm the only one that's calling and say, hey, let's do this or let's do that. Or I'm the only one saying that I want you to be a go-getter. But like you said about the children, that person has to want to go get themselves. So what I said that was so ironic about your event that you had was that I said, I think I need to have a conversation with her. And that's when Brittany told me about the I think it was she wrote it on a napkin, I
Yeah.
believe, or something for me that day.
Those
So
courageous conversations. Here's the thing, because again, my motto is not to take other people's baggage personal to you. We have to think about, like, with friendships, relationships, everyone comes with their set of experiences. Some great, they might be great business women, but they might be terrible friends. They might be excellent lovers, but terrible employees. For whatever reason, like, everyone comes to the friendship or relationship with their set of experiences. So there's a certain amount of grace given. I always talk to my friend Val and my co-author and business partner Val, and we always talk about, well, should you really have to treat or teach adults how to treat you if the relationship is worth it? There are some friendships to where it's like, we did an activity where it's like restore or release, basically. Is this friendship one that has just served its season? Like, everyone is not your project. Everyone is not your assignment. Everyone is not, it doesn't mean that you have to have bad blood, but it served its course. It's a mutual understanding that, hey, I'm going to still root for you, but I know I'm going to be over here this time, right? So some friendships you'll have to release, and then there's some friendship where, yeah, there's a multiple elephants in the room. I feel like I'm the only one giving, and pouring. And in case you don't realize that this is how I feel in a friendship, I'm giving us an opportunity to restore if you're willing. Now, what comes out of that could be, well, they like, well, hey, I'm not trying to fix this. I go on about your way. Okay. But then it might be a conversation, again, that no one else was bold enough to have with them, to where they didn't even realize that's how they were coming off to you. You see what I'm saying? So I really, like, I have all kind of journals. I will literally list names, like a T-chart, like, okay, release, restore. Okay, we need to have this conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
So
if
it's
it's
you
worth
have
it.
to make the decision of if it's worth the conversation.
Because I mean, you can't converse with if you Trina, if we had conversations with every single body that had us messed up or did something and made us feel some type of way, we'll be talking all day. Like, we would get nothing done. But it's certain things, especially when it's a repetitive thing, it's like, do they not know that they're like this, or that they're not being a good friend to me, or do they just not care? Either way, it's worth, some conversations and friendships are worth clarifying. Give them the opportunity to fix it if it means that much to you.
What about family? Like I mentioned about, sometimes you have to let go of, even when they're Mariah Carey just finished listening. I was gonna say reading her book, listening. I've fallen in love with Audible, but listening to Mariah Carey's book, my stuff is cousins. She has had to release her own brother and sister. Like, seriously. And she's like, the only reason I ain't released my mama is because she birthed me. So I feel like I owe her something. But talk to me about family.
I mean, family, that's a sensitive subject. Like, family, you have to handle people regardless of their title accordingly. Like, you just have to operate according to the person that they are. If okay, so I say this in one of my chapters in my latest book, Past the Hot Sauce. So we talk about parents and forgiving our parents for certain things, not resenting them, not carrying on their mistakes into our families and our relationships. And I specifically spoke in relation to my dad. I can't expect my dad to be just father of the year if he doesn't have the capacity or he doesn't have the experience to do that. Someone who cannot fly planes, they can't teach you how to be a pilot. Like, people can only give what they have in them to give. So with family, there's some people that you can inspire to do better just by your walk alone. Like, hey, I'm not going to participate in the drama or the foolishness. I'm just going to be the example. And that will be enough to move on their heart for them to want to change or fix the relationship. And then it's just some where you honestly, it's sad, but you have to just pray for them from a distance, because if you spend too much time with that toxic behavior, then you're going to be poisoned. And at the end of the day, you have a specific assignment. Like, you have a specific assignment, and nobody, family, friends, or whoever else can get in the way or should be getting in the way in what you're supposed to be doing. So that I treat them just like strangers. I treat them just like friends. Like, if we're going to have the relationship, let's both work on it and let's do this. If not, I still love you and I'm still praying for you, but I just can't be, you can't have that much access to me at this point, you know.
And those are kind of my words that I say, you know, not to them,
Yeah.
but it's always to myself, you know what? I just can't do that anymore because I want to be
No.
happy. I'm 52, girlfriend, and I don't have time to be stressing, no ma'am. And you said I'm cute. I'm trying to keep all this cuteness, and I have all these.
Look, peace is priceless, and peace is going to be the difference between when you do see like natural, like African American women who are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, and they still look 20 and 35. That's peace. That's not Botox. That's not adding this or adding that. That's peace. Because if you let somebody burn you out or stress you out, that'll literally kill you. Like, that affects everything. Like, it's just not worth it. Like, nobody, I can't point to anybody that's worth my peace of mind. I can't. Just me personally.
You are stressed out trying to figure out how you can fix stuff. And they ain't even worried about it.
They're sleeping just fine on fluffy memory foam pillows, and you sitting here over here like, you know, no.
So you talked about parents and your book about, what's it called?
Pass the hot sauce.
Pass the hot sauce.
Yes.
I have not heard, I'm gonna just tell you, because listening to just a little bit you said, and pass the hot sauce. Now in that book, you're talking about things that parents may not have done correctly in your in the child. Okay, so I'm glad that's what that book is. I may need to read that. Yes. I'm sorry, my daughters have come to me to tell me some things through therapy and everything, that they told me some things. My feelings was actually hurt because I thought I was perfect. No, I'm just joking. But I did, being a mom, you know, that's like the most important job. I did think I did a good job, but and they're not saying I didn't. But please speak on that, because I want to know the parent how not to feel like I was a total failure as a parent, you know?
Yeah. And again, I think it starts with a conversation. Pass the hot sauce, I actually co-authored with my sister, my friend, and like my business partner, Valerie. So Pass the hot sauce is actually called Real Talk for Teens. So Pass the hot sauce, Real Talk for Teens. But we put the teens on there because it's appropriate for teens and up. So adults need this. Young adults need this, but the conversation and the topics are maybe a little bit too heavy for children at this point. So it's definitely teens and up, but it starts with a conversation. The best thing that we can do, I believe, just as parents and just as adults in general, is to just be as transparent as possible. Not saying that you have to be their best friend, but there has to be some level of realness, or like we say, real talk within your relationships. Like, hey, I'm not perfect. There's been times, my little boy's 8 years old, that I've had to apologize for him because I lost my cool, or I let something that had nothing to do with him affect our whole day. And it's all about just being transparent. Like, hey, mommy didn't always get it right, or mommy never experienced this. And so, hey, I messed up, but I know next time. So yeah, the book, I mean, it talks about everything from relationships with parents to premarital sex, to loving yourself more, to even suicidal thoughts, and just certain things. So it's like, we don't ever really want to talk about, but we need to talk about it, because as you can see, mental health and mental illness is real. And like, we know as educators, we know in the like, they know they're dealing with these types of things. And parents might think, oh, my baby's still a baby, but no, like, we need to start having these conversations. So, I mean, this book was very therapeutic for me writing it, me and my co-author writing it, but also just reading it back. Even as an adult, I'm healing through the word. So it's a great conversation piece for sure.
Do you have any last words about anything that we've talked about today?
Definitely, I'm just in such a season. I think I posted this probably a few days ago. Like, I really don't care, and that means not in a toxic way, but in a peaceful way. Like, you have to get so unbothered with the distractions and the foolishness. Like, we have to get to a point of peace in our lives. If that means like having the courageous conversations, if it's writing a letter, sometimes we can't. The person that hurt us is long gone, but you still have to forgive them. You still have to release that weight. So whether it's going to seek therapy, whether it's restoring some broken relationships or friendships, whether it's like, hey, I've been around so much noise and so much distractions, like, I need to sit still with God and hear what he's telling me to do. Like, I'm in such a place to where it could be like little fires and storms all around me, but I'm still good. Like, because I know that God has me, and whatever he has me in is preparing me for whatever season he's about to take me through.
Yeah.
So just get to the point to where you can be content all by yourself, knowing that, like, as long as God is in your cheer section, that's all the support you need. Yeah. Like, that's it. Like, that's it. So
that is awesome. I have to ask this. I'm sorry, you said something that made me think of something else. Forgiveness. Just because I want to make sure that I say this, just because I will forgive you, just because I've decided to talk to you from over here and love you from afar, but I do forgive you. Some people think you haven't forgiven because you decide not to continue the relationship or the friendship. But no, I love you and I want the best for you. And I have forgiven you, but I'm not going to allow all the mess, I shouldn't say mess, let me say all the stuff is what I call it, all the stuff to be continuous. Yeah. Because this means this is what you are and what you're doing, and you haven't made the decision to make the change. So what do you think about that?
I mean, again, it goes back to, you have to create, I mean, daily, sometimes multiple times a day, you have to create that quiet time with God, because he'll tell you who's on your assignment and who is not, and who you stressed out by them because you won't let them go, but I've been told you to let them go. So the thing is, forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you. You have to release that weight. You have to forgive them. And again, God tells us to love everyone, even our enemies. And so we're going to obey and do that. But every relationship is not something that needs restoration. Every relationship is not, okay, I'm going to bring this back from the dead. You know what I'm saying? So just because I forgive you doesn't mean I still have to fool with you, or that you have immediate access to me. Right. Because that's a trust thing. Once you've shown me time and time again that you're capable of intentionally hurting me, betraying me, or bringing me, toxic behaviors or whatever the case may be, I would be a fool to keep allowing you that same access. Now, never say never, but it's going to take a lot, and probably Jesus himself will have to knock on the door and say, hey, let this person back in your life for a reason. And I'll be like, okay, God, I trust you. But but until then, you have to stay over there. You have to. Because again, it can be costly. It can be costly to your purpose and just everything. We don't have time for that.
Definitely your peace. I like what you said, Valerie. The quiet time with God is essential. He does speak, but we have to be in a quiet place to hear. Yes. And that is true. I even find myself I always have to have noise. I always have to have a TV. I always have to have something going. But now, since my daughter left, I've been in here without the TV on. Ain't nothing on. And it feels good. I'm someone that doesn't like to be by herself, but it feels good. I used to be like, why did anybody call me on the phone? It feels good just to be quiet and just nobody bothering me. And I'm on my couch, I move around a lot, so people think I'm always somewhere. Well, I'll take pictures when I'm laying here on my couch in my quiet time.
Yeah. I mean, of course, we want to post the exciting, the new, but that's, again, these transparent conversations are necessary because you have two people that are busy bees. Like, we get a lot done in 24 hours, but we're still carving out that self-time. And if the pandemic, as unfortunate as it is, didn't teach me but a few things, is, of course, we know that life is short. Like, you have to value every second. But two, you have to be okay all by yourself. Like, if everybody turns their back, eventually your daughter, when they go to college, they leave, or if they move out, they get married, you have to be content with you. And if you can't stand being by yourself, that's a sign that there's some work that needs to be done. If you can't be content with just you, if you constantly need a man or need a woman or need somebody around, something is there, and it's worth exploring. Why is it that you're not able to just be good, like, all on your own? Like, so
yeah. I want to also mention, since we're mentioning mental health real quick, check out, if you are looking for I always had an issue finding a Black counselor, therapist. I always did. I want a Black woman. So my daughter recommended me to therapyforblackgirls.com.
Awesome. I heard of that organization. They're amazing.
Very good. And I mean, it's as simple as doing your filters of what kind of insurance you have, where you want it, and people pop up. And I found an amazing therapist. And I really think those conversations has helped me to want to be okay with just being here by my. I be having a party in here all by myself.
Girl,
I
I
can't.
love myself now. It took
Yeah.
it took about 20 something years, but I got it. Better late than never. I love myself. Like
Better than being
I love it.
something when it happens, but whenever it happens, it's always good. So to
It
be able
is freeing, right? It's like whew, like like weights have lifted. And I would also say, just to add on to therapy, like you guys, you can have God and therapy too. Like it's not like I know there's always this stigma where, I'm good, like I'm good, or even with Black people, to where we know that I'm not crazy, like I'm not, it has nothing to do with being crazy. Like life is tough. Life is tough being a woman, especially a Black woman. Life is tough as a man. Your partner, your spouse, your children, your friends, they have not had identical experiences to you. So there's nothing wrong with somebody guiding you. That's literally what a therapist is. They're not putting you in the mental ward or anything like that. They're literally just guiding you and providing you coping strategies to apply to your everyday life. And so it's perfectly okay. Like God is number one, but therapy can be number 2 or 3. It's okay. Like it's okay.
Some therapists, like the one I have, we talk, we discuss. Of course, she asked me first, is it okay? But we talk spiritually, so we put God is all up in there, with us, all up in the gumbo.
Yeah, and that's a part of picking the right therapist or mental health provider, because they will ask you typically, or most should ask you, is it okay to, talk about God or spiritual things and things of that nature. So, yeah.
Definitely awesome. So y'all check that out. Have a poem, affirmation, or anything favorite that you want to give to me, Sensei, that we can. I know you have something in your toolbox.
I have I will say I have a quote that I always use. It's not by me, but it's by Rumi, and it says, why stay in prison when the doors are so wide open? So again, it's one that I always go back to. Why stay in prison when the doors are so wide open? And so what I gained from that is that no one has me anchored here. Like I have the freedom to love freely, and to, if I'm not satisfied with this job, I can go find my fulfillment. And in this friendship, if it's not working because it's a choice, I can wipe my hands of it and know that I've done my very best. So the door is so wide open. Do not keep yourself there as prisoner. Like you have the key, it's unlocked. No one has to come save you. Most times people won't save you, even if you're waving your little flag. You have to save yourself. The door is open. So again, if you guys really like that quote, Rumi is Rumi. He's, oh my God, I love all of his quotes, but that is one that has stuck with me for, oh my God, for so many years.
Thank you again so much. Everything you said made so much sense. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good luck on your journey. I'm so excited for you. I'm praying for you. And I will see you soon.
Yes. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you again, Miss Casilya Smith, aka Sil the Writer. Thank you for sharing all of those words of wisdom with me tonight. I really enjoyed it. And thank you for celebrating my birthday by being one of my favorite people. And guys, thank you for making the choice to click in to chat with Trina. Remember to subscribe and then hit the bell so you can be notified when I upload a new video.